Welcome back for another Minecraft video. Today's highlights video is from stream number 9, and what we're going to be doing is building a stone generator and also turning it into a moss generator so we can use the moss and other blocks to be able to use them for the decorations on the next highlights video. If you do like the video, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content like this to be able to help support my channel. I really do appreciate everybody who's supporting me so far. And during the stream, I just kind of sped through and made a generator as quickly as possible just so I didn't have to waste a lot of time. And after the stream is over, I went back in and did a little bit of remodeling and experimenting and made it a little bit more efficient. So the beginning part of this video is the highlights from the stream, and then the later part of the video is going to be what I learned and experimented with and the finished product of the generator, so it's a little bit more automatic. So make sure to watch till the end so you see the final product. I do appreciate it, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's go ahead and start this. This shouldn't take very long. Let's go 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Both sides, just kind of build out a little area for the water. Block off one side. So what we want is to grab our pistons and line this whole back area. I'm only going to do 6 wide just because I feel like if I go any further, it might screw up the system or whatever. Put 1 block of water there. Cover this up. Oh, actually, technically, we need to cover this up anyway. I heard something walking or something. All right, hopefully this works out the way that I had figured this out here. This should turn all this into stone. Perfect. So for these back here, let's get rid of this guy. I should have slept or something. We're gonna set these all the way to 4 tick on each of these. And put redstone all the way across there. And I have a gap here, but I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a gap here. So put repeater there, all the way to 4 tick, repeater here. You just want to extend this because we need to give enough time for the lava to actually flow across before it triggers again. And there. All right, so I think that if I just do this, it'll flick on and off and start pushing these out. After this is the one thing I do realize though, that it will kind of screw up the system if you do not have the outer sides broken. What I mean by that is like this one and this one, and then kind of work your way in. If you do the middle ones, it's not really going to help because it's going to block off the water with the lava. So at first, I mean, technically this is a stone generator, if you want to call it that. At first, anyway. I mean, technically all you have to do is have bone meal in your hand and then switch over to your hoe and then break all the stuff. What I want to do though first is make like a chest system right here. So at this point in the video, we have a really good stone generator and a semi-good moss farm. We still have to do a lot of manual work. We have to put the moss block up, use the bone mill to be able to spread it out, and then use the hoe to be able to collect it. I wanted this to be a little bit more automatic, and so later on, after the stream has ended, I went back and did a lot of work trying to figure out the best way to make this a little bit more efficient, and this is what I came up with. So this is my moss generator. It could also be turned on and off to be a stone or cobblestone generator, depending on the pickaxe that you decide to use. If you have a silk touch pickaxe, then you could be able to get tons of stone. If you have a fortune or just regular pickaxe, you'll be able to get lots of cobblestone. So it's it's a multi-purpose system. Let me go ahead and show you kind of how it works. If you remember on the stream, I had a total of 6 areas of water flow to be able to turn into stone. I changed it to 5. And the reason why is I noticed that the moss block, if it's centered in a 5 block space, that it'll actually spread out throughout the whole thing. But if it's 6, you have to have 2, and it's kind of more difficult to get a system to work like this, and I'll explain more why in a minute. I did create a rail system right here. It is kind of bulky, but this is what I came up with. If anybody else can come up with something that's a little bit more user-friendly for you, that's awesome, but this is what I came up with. This is to be able to time the water to be turned on and off, and give enough time for the moss blocks to be able to be grown in the area. So that way you're not getting those random pieces of stone or, stone coming through that you don't want. Something I realized is the water actually will break carpets, which is the biggest issue. Something I learned is that you have to have a piston to be able to break the thing, or if you get like a bush or a carpet. In this case, even carpets are getting pushed off to the side right here, and eventually once they get pushed off to the absolute side right here, they just fall, and you don't have to worry about it. But you have to have something to push off the items on top of the moss block that you're bone milling. And the reason being is, for whatever reason, you cannot bone mill a moss block that has something on top of it. It could be anything. You just can't have it has to be an open air space right here. This took me a long time because I wanted to put one on top, like the piston going downward into the moss block to just smash whatever the item is in there. But it kept pushing the carpets down, and then just pushing the moss block down is completely ruining the system. So it had to be off to the side right here for it to be a lot more automatic. So that was kind of the big thing that it took me a while to figure out, but this is kind of the system that I came up with. I did time the piston to, I think this is 3 tick, just to give a little bit of time between the time that it's bone milled and the time that the piston goes off. And then if you go down here, this is actually going to a observer, and it's feeding this block right here, which honestly I could cut it. It's fine. It'll only take me a second. So I have an observer right here, and then you put a block right in front of it, and then a redstone right on top of it, and then that'll feed that system to be able to turn on and off the bone mill as well as the piston as soon as this block is moved. So that way it'll continue the system automatically. And then I have this chest right here, so you can just fit the bone meal right through here straight into the dispenser that's fed right here, so that way you don't have to come all the way up here to load the dispenser. Just kind of an easy way to do it. Also, if I want to, I could put a shulker box on top of here, figure something else out like that. If you guys do want a way to be able to make this produce bone meal all on its own, any items that you don't want used, I think the moss block, but I'm not sure if all the other ones, which I can experiment with later, can go into a composter and eventually be turned into bone meal. So if you have any rollovers that you don't want, you could definitely have those fed into a composter via a automatic sorting system that we've used previously in other videos. and then use a water column to feed it up to this hopper system right here, and you can make this completely automatically fed with bone meal if you want to, which makes it really neat. I have tons of bones because of my fish farm slash guardian farm that I have in the other episodes, so I have tons of bones to use, so that's not an issue for me. But if you wanted to make this a little bit more efficient, like let's say you're just wanting the azalea bushes and you don't really care for the moss blocks, or you don't care for the carpets, you could even feed the seeds into the composter, I believe, to make bone meal, which will automatically feed the system with bone meal, which makes it really neat. And then on this side right here, I have a lever, and this lever, which I could, turn it on, but it makes it automatically turn on, so this thing will stop, and then you can start breaking these, and then you have a stone generator, and then all you have to do is turn that off, and then you have your moss generator going. So that's a couple ways to be able to do it. Just a simple lever feeding this whole system right here, and then it makes it so that thing won't trigger, which is really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and get it going, but I do need the water, like I said, to break the carpets, so there's no issues down here, because anytime there's a carpet on top of the moss, it prevents the stone from turning into moss. And then like right here, like these two blocks right here, because these are right here, they won't turn into moss either. So it's kind of like a system, and you want it to go kind of slow enough, I should say, to be able to make sure that we get every single stone block. And then I'll explain it as we start this process. I'm gonna make sure it's all turned on. I have the minecart going. Sometimes this turns off in between loading and unloading. All you have to do is flip this switch one time back and forth, and it'll start up. I have been just using my silk touch pickaxe just in case I do get a stone block or whatever in there, then I don't have to switch back and forth. Plus I have this on mending and stuff like that, and it's netherite, which lasts a lot longer. I will be building this into a safe place so I don't have to be worried about watching my back constantly. But let's go ahead and get it going. The first thing that you want to do is make sure that you're getting these side blocks, and then work your way inward. And as you see, you have all these blocks being pushed towards you, and then the water will start to break all the carpets. And if you ever get to a point where there's actually stone visible, don't break it right away, because sometimes it'll actually get turned into moss blocks. I want to try to give you an example of that hopefully here soon, but it works really good. See, like there's a block right there. Sometimes it'll, not in this case because it's off to the side, unfortunately, but if it's in these 3 blocks right here, most of the time the stone blocks will actually get turned into moss blocks, and you don't have to worry about it. The water just makes it flow straight into, like, all the extra bits just get pushed straight into the hoppers, which is really nice. You don't have to go up there and collect it or anything like that. And then you just continue and just let it do its thing. Once you let it completely run out though, and the water only pushes so far, you have to go up there and collect whatever's left, which is the only thing that's kind of a bummer to it, but that's not really a huge thing. See how these will break, and then this one right here should, if you like break this one right here, let's break it again. Yeah, see, it'll turn into a moss block. Perfect. I think it's working really well. Very efficient. Sometimes things get stuck up here, but I mean, honestly, all in all, it's doing really well. Make sure that this thing is all loaded up. Also, right here, I put a block with a half slab up here so the water won't actually flow past the hoppers. Because once you break it to a certain point, the water will actually go all the way and push you kind of out. So I made sure to put a half slab right here to make sure that that's not an issue. But that is my automatic moss farm, which is working really well. Again, the only thing I really need to do is just build this into a building and design something. But I mean, this is just the bare bones of the system. Again, you could make this a little bit more condensed maybe, or figure out a different timing system with I don't know, redstone repeaters or something like that to get the timing down. You just kind of have to mess around with it. This seemed to work really well for me. So if you guys want to take a pause and kind of see the schematics of this, feel free to do so you can use it in your world if you'd like. I do have like the one lever right here that's kind of operating both of these, so I don't have to use so many, and then I use the levers instead of like redstone blocks to use, which if you use redstone blocks you can actually condense this down at least what, three spaces. Jeez, that guy. The traveling villager is actually in the minecart. That's hilarious. All right, well, that's going to be it for my episode. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I really do appreciate everybody who's been watching and supporting me so far. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe for more content like this to be able to help support my channel. I do appreciate everybody, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.